Hi there, welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dubston, and it is wonderful that you are here with me for our weekly I Ching forecast for the week commencing the 4th of May 2026. Our first overview for May. Let's get stuck into it. And of course, the monthly overview has just come out, so go and check out the deliverance and the receptive, open, supportive energy we are working with in May as a theme. All right, last week we had Hexagram 15, modesty, balance, temperance, cutting down the middle, finding the middle path, finding a way of making what was high, low, what was low, high, bringing everything to a level playing field, and working with that energy of Hexagram 63 after completion, working with the closing, the finishing off of something, bringing things to a close, the end of a cycle. For you, working with this idea of balance and moderation and this closing off, how did that energy flow for you? What was coming to an end where you had to just finish what you were already finishing and doing that finishing well, and working with this idea of balance and moderation and modesty and humility, gratitude and focus on what's really important, the middle path. I had a situation where a team member had resigned, and so at the end of this past week was the last day, and there was a big sense of finishing the cycle really well, of being in integrity, of being grateful, of coming to the moment without resentment of the resignation and the departure, without fear of what might come with that person no longer being in the team and how to deal with it, but just being present with closing off the process well and creating a space for everyone to be closed off well, the team to have closed off very well on this situation. And that's how it was. And I was very aware as that process was coming to an end towards the end of last week, all this closing off energy. So I felt that more strongly than Hexagram 15. But certainly this idea of just being humble and grateful and simple and not overcomplicating things and not overdoing it, but just bringing this journey with this individual to an end really well in integrity for all parties. It was fantastic. So that's my example from the week. I had this Hexagram 63 playing out. This is an ending. How do we finish well? How do we stay the course? How do we stay in humility in this journey as we wrap it up? So I had almost in a way, the other way around. It was a finishing, and I used humility as a tool as part of that as well. I often see they go backwards and forwards on each other as a pair. For you, how did that work out? What were you noticing? Where did those hexagrams reflect in your life? Please do share a comment. Into the first weekly overview for May, the 4th of May, as we get going, a few days into May. Our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 16, enthusiasm. Okay, we do have 3 changing lines, so we'll work with those in a little bit. Hexagram 16. This is an interesting hexagram. It's all about energy and optimism and delight and fun and movement and motivation. When we are filled with enthusiasm, okay, it can be enthusiasm that is based on something real. It can also be deluded enthusiasm based on our false perceptions of what is happening around us. We can get very excited and motivated by something only to discover down the line, oh, it's not what we thought. Either which way, this idea of motivation and energy and enthusiasm is a powerful one for us to bear in mind this week. Not just for our own motivation, because that's what it really comes down to, is our ability to motivate ourselves to go and to build up that excitement, but also to build that for others. Okay, so this hexagram very strongly says this is not just about your energy and your delight and your energy and your movement. This is also about instilling that in others, being an example and generating genuine enthusiasm in the people around you. Now, obviously, we can see that, very clearly how in our homes and our families, we can motivate and create energy and be the example and get everyone going and get everyone fired up and excited about something. And we can obviously see that very clearly in the workplace, how we can play a very powerful role in getting others excited and on board. And what this hexagram says, in order to do what we want to do, in order to undertake the challenge, we don't actually have the power by ourselves to do this. No matter how motivated and pumped we are, okay, for what it is we're trying to do, we get the job done because we're able to motivate the people around us, the people that matter in this situation, to jump off their chairs, get involved, get emotionally engaged in what we're trying to do, and pump it together as a team. Okay, so this is very much a team, a group of people energy, where our focus is, what do I have to do to give people what they need to be excited and enthusiastic? Not falsely, not in a forced way, but is a natural, spontaneous movement. The way that we think about this hexagram and the way you'll see it read in the text is the power of music. Okay, so for me, I like calling music anti-gravity, because when you put on your favorite songs and you're listening to them loud, like you feel invincible in a way, like you feel your energy just expand and lift, and you just feel like moving and going, all right? And you just can just dance and just enjoy it and be spontaneous and just sing loudly, even if it's badly, doesn't matter. That's the power of music. So for me, this is the music hexagram, okay? This is where we put on the tunes, okay? And we just pump it. So there's something around this month, if you can make yourself like a killer playlist, like, this is like jam it out playlist. Make that playlist, all right? And go for it. Think about your favorite things that really get you excited and moving forward. I know past time we had this hexagram, I encourage people to share a comment. What's your favorite go-to song that when that song comes on, you just want to go and you feel like you can do anything? So maybe we can do that again and create a hexagram 16 playlist. All right, let's see if we can do that. So share your favorite tune. Okay, so that's the idea. We put on the radio, we put on the music, we put on your favorite album, whatever it is, and people just naturally go for it. And I was at an event recently, co-managing an event where we had a DJ, and the DJ, who was very good, he had such a great playlist, and he said what he does is he watches people's bums. And he says when he sees them start to wobble, he knows, and he watches the crowd. All right, so it was a corporate event, and he says when he sees those bums start to move, he knows he's hitting an energy on his playlist that's resonating with people. Okay, and then he just dials in on those tracks, which happened to be like, obviously it was the 80s crowd. And out came the 80s hits, and the bums were moving. Okay, people were just enjoying it and spontaneously getting into it and doing their thing in a corporate environment, but actually, they were having a ball. Okay, that is what this hexagram is calling us to do. Read your room in your life, with your family, your friends, your teams, okay? And look at the bums, okay? You know what I mean, not in a weird way. And get the tune on that's going to dial people in, not to coerce them with brainwashing, okay? Binaural beats or whatever, I don't know, like not with that, okay? We are actually helping people tap into their natural enthusiasm for something. We give them a clear message. We're putting on the tune, we're creating an energy, a vibration, which is what music is. And we are tuning everyone into the same vibration because we build up power that way. We build up a battery. And when as a team we have a battery and we're charging that battery with that enthusiasm, okay, because enthusiasm doesn't last forever. Motivation, that pump, pump, pump energy doesn't last forever. We use it to build up the battery, all right? Build up the reserves, okay, build up. You can imagine you're charging a battery with all that energy, and then when it's time to go and do the thing or to implement the plan, right, which requires a different type of energy, a long-term plodding implementation, you need to draw on that battery. Right? So what we're doing is we're powering up the battery by working with this hexagram. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those playlist suggestions come out. Okay, we have 3 changing lines, as I said, line 3, 5, and 6. So in this week, lots of facets of enthusiasm coming to clock us through a whole lot of points of change, right? The more changing lines we have, the more we're clicking through different types of change in the week, and it makes it more and more intense. In line 3, all right, the enthusiasm here is overcoming a potential to hesitate too long on a decision or on an action. And actually what we need to do as we start off the week is we need to bump it. Okay, there's something here where we're like hesitating, and we miss the moment. So we build enthusiasm, we build energy, we build the battery this week. But as the week starts up, we're in tune with where we are feeling hesitant, okay, where we are holding back slightly. And those are the areas we pummel through, okay? We vigorously put our energy into seizing the moment, spotting the right moment to act, and acting at that moment. It's all tactical. So there's something around this week where there is an opportunity to seize the gap, but it's a little gap and it opens and then it closes. So something here we're needing to overcome this inertia or worry or fear or anxiety, whatever it is, and we have to overcome that, put that down and go for it. Okay, we can do that. In line 5, this energy says, oh, okay, we might be under huge pressure this week. Okay, this line speaks to being sick. Okay, so if you have a down week where you've picked up a bug, just bear that in mind. This is not a fatal situation. This is being impeded, but not forever. Okay, but there's speaking about pressure. Pressure that you feel like you can't breathe. Like you just are dealing with so much that's coming at you that it feels quite heavy and quite pressurized. And the way that we deal with this line is we recognize, okay, I'm feeling under pressure. I'm feeling that heaviness where it's pushing down on your ability to breathe. Like, and instead what we do is we take a deep breath and we keep going anyway. So even if we are sick, impeded, challenged, or feeling under a lot of pressure, right, to handle a lot of things, maybe this enthusiasm is a whole pile of things being churned up here that we have to deal with, and it creates a lot of pressure. The way we deal with the pressure this week, even if the pressure is for the whole week or just a little or just on one issue, we take a deep breath and we move forward as best we can. With this line, the pressure, the illness, whatever is the impediment, all right, or the restriction, is actually helping us because it would prevent our enthusiasm to spray all over the place. So there's something around this pressure or this process that we're going through this week that allows us to concentrate the enthusiasm into a laser beam. And you know, when you're going through that process of like, there's too much going on, too many things to do, that pressure almost like, whew, it becomes like a self-filter because we can't deal with everything. We can't solve all problems. So we have to go and focus on the most critical, the most important, the loudest, whatever it is, our filtering system. And we have to make choices about what gets our attention and what doesn't. We don't have the luxury of just spending our energy in all kinds of places because we're in a bit of a survival mode here. We've got to, okay, concentrate the laser beam in. And so somehow this pressure this week is actually helpful. So when we feel that pressure, we're like, this is helping me to be focused. This is helping me to make important decisions. This is helping me to see what's really important. Where do I really need to grow? That is the way that we bring our energy to the week. And then in line 6, okay, enthusiasm stuck in a cave. Okay, so visualize we're in a dark cave, right? The dark cave represents our blocked or hindered view, all right? Perhaps it represents depression for you, or feeling down, or feeling cut off or blocked or you can't see. But it certainly represents that our enthusiasm, our view, our perception is in the dark. There's something around here that we are not seeing clearly, all right? So it is darkened enthusiasm. We can't see truth. And perhaps we come to a sudden awakening this week as we come out of this cave into the light. There's something around awakening to the truth related to what we're motivated to do that comes to us. And our way of working with this energy is to consciously choose to let go of the past, to let go of the cave, whether that cave represents our fears and phobias and self-sabotage techniques, okay, whatever that cave represents, we have to make the choice to leave the cave and embrace the light. stepping out into the light. That's all we need to do, is we need to move forward. We need to let it go and we need to step forward. And there's something here where we have a sober awakening. Okay, perhaps something that we were convinced was going to happen, was convinced that's ours, convinced this is going to go a particular way, goes the other way. And we're awakened to an understanding of where our enthusiasm for something hid the truth and the reality. It can be like coming down to earth with a thud, okay? But what we do need to do is we need to leave the cave. We need to make a choice to leave that cave, to enter into the light and embrace whatever the truth is of that situation, whatever the reason, face the truth, the reality of it, and move forward. We consciously have to move. We can't stay in this cave. And we all have blocked, locked, blinkered thinking on something, right? We all have things we are fearful of, and we stay in this pit of fear. And we'd rather stay ignorant, okay, in this cave, without a view, without a truthful understanding of what is really going on, than deal with what's outside the cave. Because that calls upon us to do a whole pile of other things, to face that truth, to face a reality, and then we can deal with the reality. But we need to make a choice to leave the cave. So I affirm for you this week the opportunity to see, what does the cave represent for you? What does the dark cave do for you? What has it been doing for you that's no longer helpful? Make the choice to leave the cave and move forward. And then our second relating flow, based on those 3 changing lines, is Hexagram 33, retreat. That's an interesting hexagram to get, coming out of enthusiasm, motivation, building up the battery, motivation, okay, the music's playing, retreat. So maybe in that cave, coming out of that cave, that's the clue for us, all right? Some of the clue of how we get from this enthusiasm and building up this power to making a choice to retreat from something. Hexagram 33 is all about making a conscious decision to withdraw from the battlefield for the time or permanently. Okay. You reach a point where you realize, I don't have enough, squad, reserves, food, support to keep on hammering away at this battle. I need to withdraw my troops, withdraw my people, and pull ourselves back into what I often use for this hexagram is the cave. Very interesting. But withdraw ourselves back to reflect, renew, review, redo. Okay, there's something here where we're up against something that's stronger than us, more powerful, and beyond us. And what we realize as we go through this week, where that is. It is not failure to recognize this issue and withdraw and go to a different place. It's not failure. It's recognizing where there is a power that will unravel what you're trying to do if you keep on hammering at it. Okay. That retreat can literally be a strategic retreat for your team. Maybe you are going on a retreat, or you've planned one, or you're thinking about just taking a little bit of time out to regroup, perhaps having a little bit of a private space, not so much socializing, but just going into your shell, okay? The crab, you're going into your shell, or the tortoise or the turtle, going into your shell for a little bit and just waiting out the situation until you're ready to act. It's a strategic move to retreat at the right time. And something this week is asking us to withdraw, even if it is for a period of time. Perhaps it's withdrawing from a group of friends or from social activities. Perhaps it's withdrawing from a client or a project or a commitment of some kind. Whatever this is a time to pull back your energy on some aspects, not your whole life. Pull back. You've had some awareness, perhaps the sober awakening in line 6 has brought up where this awakening is pointing to the need for retreat. Who knows? Be open to where this energy is shining for you this week and take the action. And when you are ready, your energy can expand again on this issue. You can move back out with awareness, resources, or perhaps a totally different direction. Thank you so much for being here with me for this weekly forecast for the I Ching. If this was valuable to you, a thumbs up, a like would be great. If you'd like to subscribe to get episodes on the regular, that would be really fantastic. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Hit the follow button on the podcast. and I'll see you very soon for our next weekly forecast. Until then, take care.